Hello and welcome to Michael and Ivanka's Grand Podcast, a weekly podcast where we figure out what we think about stuff together over a webcam. My name's Michael Forrest.
And I'm Ivanka Majic.
And this week, because it's basically the last episode before the American elections are all done and dusted, we're going to talk about Trump.
I feel a bit faint.
We're going to talk about goddamn Donald Trump and why you just need to get him out there. Just no excuses.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of him. Whether you like Biden or not, you got to get rid of Trump. Yeah. Please. I can't take another 4 years of this low-rent reality TV show.
The planet can't take it either. None of us can take it. We can't take it. It's just not a practical solution to any problem that exists. It just isn't.
Much like Brexit,
it's just
Donald Trump is solving nothing.
Nothing at all.
He's just stirring the so yeah, there was I saw there was the second debate last night as of time of recording. There's all the Biden stuff. There's like people are like anti-capitalists, you know, maybe just it's okay for now to vote for someone that has problematic things because it, you know, that kind of thing. Like I know there's extreme radical left people that maybe feel like it's not enough, but you got to do it one step at a time. And just why we've got to get this criminal out of the White House just for the sake of everyone.
All of us. It's got to go.
How's it going, Ivanka?
I'm having a good week. I was thinking about how I was going to answer this question in advance. I was thinking that I'm enjoying the fact that at the moment my child seems very jolly and happy and full of happiness, and that is constantly pleasure adding in life and a blessing to count. And I was also thinking about the fact that I'm enjoying my work, for which I'm eternally grateful that I get to work on interesting things. And I was also thinking about the fact that as somebody who records a podcast, I've realised that whilst I suppose one is supposed to set out to be entertaining in some way, and then
yes.
and I worried that I don't really endeavour to be entertaining. And then I was thinking about why that might be, because we talk about our podcast and what we're doing with it from time to time. And I think I struggle to not be serious.
Well, but we talked about entertainment in that episode, and as a result of that episode, I've had a post-it note permanently stuck to my performing area, which says, in order to entertain, project, transmit energy. And I think as long as you're transmitting energy, that's all you can be asked to do, really. I mean, we're not trying to like make a comedy show where we make funny jokes all the time.
Though we are very, very funny. No, but that's what I was thinking about. So I was thinking about it in a different context of, you know, why was I responding in this way to this thing? It's like, because that's who I am. So yes, I'm a serious person, very, very serious, or I take myself seriously, or the world's, I don't know. Anyway, something along those lines. Yeah. I struggle to be really trivial. Maybe that's it.
Well, what's trivial about anything? That's not what this podcast is. It's not Michael and Ivanka's trivial podcast.
No, that's true. Though I do know a lot of triv. I'm very good at trivial pursuits.
Okay. I'm not
well, I used to be, probably, but that's like the 30-year-old version when I was more plugged into popular culture. COVID cases are going up everywhere. Have you noticed?
Yay.
It's not good. That's where we're at.
I sense a little bit of work brain still.
Yes, I've just instead. Usually on a Friday, I don't do any worky things ahead of recording, as you know. But today I did do a worky meeting, so that's probably
maybe just got to snap out of that.
Got to sort myself out. Hello, everybody.
As fun as it might have been, you can just purge that and just think about the world.
Think about the state of the world, right? And how are you, Michael? How's your week been?
My week has been. You said you'd prepared what you were going to say this week, and I hadn't. So I
prepared,
I was going to say I've got a question. Do you think it's possible to become any sort of personality if you have bad teeth? or your teeth aren't good.
Are you?
Like you see, that's some good teeth.
Have I got good teeth? I always think when I
they're
laugh,
not
I'm
noticeably. Like yeah, but that's different to like gaps, and I think people would notice my teeth. I don't know if it's undermining the message of my communications, but I'm having that like. I wish my teeth were like. I never see any YouTuber or any person on the television or any person in the public sphere that doesn't have good teeth. I'm just starting to wonder if that's one of those The Secret things where you've got to like put yourself where you want to be.
You've got to have good teeth. To be honest with you, Michael, I think the straight white male thing will totally overshadow anything to do with your teeth.
Okay, maybe my sister once said, I think like it's if someone's sort of like, I guess is sort of like otherwise like I think bad teeth can be quite hot. I was like,
yeah, I think it's like scars. It's like, I remember talking to somebody about this years ago, and she's like, well, scars are kind of sexy because they show like you've done stuff and you've been places, and like this is just who you are. Just stop.
It's like, do I want to pretend to be privileged, or do I want to show that I'm not all that privileged, really?
Because
on my face, I am obviously very privileged. Well, but like not as privileged as one of those, the terrible people that are in the one step above me in the hierarchy of privilege.
Baddies.
They're terrible.
I've never looked at you and thought, well, Michael, if only your teeth are straighter, I could take you far more seriously. Yeah. No, not a thing. Though, I do look at photographs of myself when I'm very bad. Anyone who loves me and knows me will testify to this, at keeping my eyes open in photographs. I also seem to get a very gummy laugh on in any... Yeah. But, we all have the things that we've
all got something we're self-conscious about. The only reason I was thinking about it was because, like, when I bought that guitar that I just sold, it was, like, I just got this huge tax refund, and I was like, I started looking into the teeth thing. And but then that soon sort of turned out not to be viable. They've got to do surgery in my gum to even start anything, and I met like this dentist that was like, oh, can you sign this thing that says if I make a mistake that I don't have to take responsibility for it? I was like, I don't like the way you're putting this. I'm going to keep looking.
I think
anyway. That's all that's been on my mind today. Oh, wow. So obviously I'm in a reasonably good place.
You are.
The next subject.
Absolutely. I'm enjoying your donegood.app.
Oh, are you?
Donegood.app. Go and sign
app.
up. Sign up. What did I just say? Anyway, I enjoy
register
it.
Now.
I dump all sorts of things in there. And then it comes up in the morning and I go, nah, snooze.
Yeah, snooze.
But
there's nothing wrong with snoozing.
But
eventually, after like the 15th, I should put a snooze counter on it, shouldn't I?
That'd be a good idea.
You've snoozed this
700 times. Are you sure you still want to snooze it? But yes, I'm making progress chipping away at tasks. One of the tasks, though, they sort of vary in magnitude from order dog food to pomegranate empire. So it's like a whole, but...
Well, one non-obvious feature that you can do is if you've got a big task, if you put bullet points in a list, then it will create a little button that says create tasks from this list, and then you click the one button and it will unwrap that all into tasks. So then you can make a regular task, which has lots of subtasks, which has bullet points in it, and then each week, so for the podcast, I then click create tasks and it breaks it all down into this week's podcast tasks, and then I just go through them one by one. There's I need to make some videos on the advanced features that aren't too obvious.
I think that I shared it with somebody who went, could you tell me what this is, because I can't see what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? Yeah. So you need some videos is my feedback. But yeah, and
that's so I've just been putting that off until I got excited about like the updates to my Shoot app, and also like this week Good Habits is another app. I made the widgets for the home screen for iOS 14, and it's really cool. Like I've got like I've completed my Good Habits tasks for the day, and I can tick them from my home screen, and I can always see them. So it's making me take my zinc. Oh, Donald Trump.
Donald
I mean,
Trump.
what is there to say about him that hasn't been said 1,000 times? 20,000 lies on the record during his presidency. He's famous for playing a successful businessman in a reality TV show and having a catchphrase. He's not actually that successful in business, but he's very prominent as someone. People have lapped it up. People like him because he's not the establishment. And he reads Breitbart, but mainly because he's not the establishment, so he's going to get things done. And also he's business, and just because they recognise him because he's off the telly, probably.
I think...
And the racists like him.
I think for me, it's in many ways less about the people who like him or have grown some sort of affinity to him. I saw that Jane Goodley, that Scottish comedian, the one that held up the Donald Trump is a thing at the... There's a photo of her holding up the sign. And she was on Have I Got News For You? I only saw the clip. And she was saying, it's very, very hard to admit that you were wrong about him.
Yeah.
She makes so I think for me it's less about them than the people that I've seen gone, yeah, I'm going to vote for change. I'm voting for some random green president that hasn't got a hope in hell of winning. Or the people who are sort of on the fancy.
Disenfranchised.
Just now is not the time for any form of neutrality or despondency. If you're going to be... there's not an option.
It's not the time for that.
No.
You can either have more of this insanity, or you can sort of go for some incremental change and at least pick someone who's going to... I mean, I think the best thing, in my opinion, that Joe Biden has going for him is that he listens to all the people around him and sort of, in a way, because he's got less of a personality than sort of, Obama even. That I think that's a strength, because he almost sort of represents all of those great people that are around him. But also I was quite pleased that he was able to sort of think on his feet in a fight with Trump. In a way that I have to admit, if a woman had done that, you see Kamala Harris talking about, if she used that strategy, it would people would be like, oh, a woman doing that, oh, she's unlikable, because, there is still a lot of bias against women being forceful and sort of, just doing the same thing that a man is expected to do. So as much as I would have liked a female candidate, you're dealing with the the normal people too much who still have those prejudices. So,
well, America certainly isn't ready for it. So we're going to have Biden. Middle class shopper alert. Biden. Yes, we're going to have Grandpa Biden. But he seems fairly. I mean, This isn't about, to me, I don't care. This is about not Trump. This is about not Trump. It's not about Biden. And I'm sorry that he's not an amazing candidate. I'm sorry it's not AOC or Elizabeth Warren or somebody else. Yeah. But
Andrew Yang.
Anyway, you got, that was your favourite. Yeah. It's just that's what you got. That's the not Trump candidate. Vote for the not Trump candidate.
Is it really that much of an inconvenience to go and do it? I mean, just take a bit of time. It's just go down there and do it. Or the postal vote thing. I heard this on the Intercept podcast. Part of the sort of indirection of that was throwing sort of doubt on the postal system and the postal votes, so that people sort of chuck out the postal vote ballot and then try and turn up to vote in person, and then can't because you need to bring that postal ballot, which is counterintuitive. So that was a big danger of this whole Trump trying to destroy the post office, trying to sort of spread these lies about the mailer voting fraud and all that stuff. It was just complete throwing interference to try and the best way that works is when it sort of confuses people about having to bring that ballot in and all that kind of thing.
The thing that you reminded me of was an email that came through to me this morning, because at some point I have installed an app called Expensify. I don't know when, I haven't used it since forever. I tried it out. Anyway, the CEO sent an email out this morning, which was to their whole mailing list saying, protect democracy, vote for Biden. And as a business, that is a big step to take. That's a very risky strategy, really, these days. We could discuss why that's such a risky strategy, but for a business to take a political position is, it's a big deal. You lose customers,
Publications have been doing it as well, haven't they? It America? What were they? Scientific American, for example, backing Biden, endorsing Biden, and that was like the first time. Is that the one that was? And Nature as well. Like just a lot of these big journals that have never ever been political about anything in over like 175 years. Scientific American, and it's that urgent that people are having to just come out.
And for me, this guy, I bet it made me want to go and check out the product. I was like, what was this expensive? But he talks about the fact that it's not a time to be neutral. And he talks about this fact that it's about protecting democracy. Anybody who's choosing to attack the process, that's what reminded me about this. Anyone who's trying to cast doubt on the actual democratic process is somebody who can't be trusted with democracy.
You're breaking the contract that is fundamental to this whole thing. And the same goes for, attacking the press, enemy of the people. Fake news is in cahoots with the big social media guys. Just it's attacking the very substance of democracy in a very dangerous way. And the worst thing, I think, is where, of course, we've all got issues with it in its current form.
Yep.
But the answer is not. He's not going to fix it for us. He's going to fix it for him. And that's he's going to fix it for himself. And that's what he's done consistently, like tax cuts for the ultra rich and all that kind of thing.
He's the ultimate, sort of sitting on the Balkans. Everyone just expects and assumes that every politician has gone into it for their own gain. And it's just a matter of time before they're going to be, subject to some bribe. And my father used to talk about it in the fact that, here, any corruption is on such a sort of peanut. It's absolutely for self-gain. Like it'll be some dodgy deal on a house sale. So it'd be really dodgy and self-serving to the individual. But it won't be on the grand scale of a class or a layer of society, Boris and his gang or Trump and his gang. They're representing a layer of society in their corruption that's disgusting. We've all kind of gone along with it, or we're all and I think even in America has a political class. We have an actual upper class in the UK, but they've broken the contract because they're not looking after us. Trump, be self-serving, but don't destroy the climate.
At least politicians before him have paid lip service to the stuff that they're supposed to. This guy is just no. All of that's out the window. Nothing that counts. Nothing means anything anymore.
Be self-serving, but don't let 200,000 people die of a virus that they could have been wearing. They could have potentially been shielded from. It's that's the I don't know, the thing that is disgusting. That's the thing that is wrong and the wrongest, the most wrong.
Well, Italy has got a whole kind of corrupt. It's corrupt to its core. Talking it's just terribly corrupt, and the bureaucracy, and it's hard to get anything done so much that there's just a culture of you kind of figure it out, almost sort of libertarian sort of approach to life, where you just kind of see what you can get away with, and that's not frowned on to bend the rules or break the rules to get something, because sort of it's the only way to get anything done.
Same
but
here,
when it came down to coronavirus, everyone listened to the flipping. The government did what they had to do. Everyone listened. And what one difference in Italy was they showed all the death in the news. They showed all the horror of it, which we didn't. In the UK, where was all that? Where was all the people dying in hospital beds? Where's all the footage of all this stuff that the Italians were exposed to? Anyway, sorry, I'm branching off subject. But
I think that's an illustration. Places like Italy, like any a former Yugoslav country, but let's talk, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. There is this corruption. Everyone knows that you have to know somebody who knows somebody to get anything done. You have to go and make friends. You have to do all this stuff. You have to go on a sort of, we had a day on the mainland on Wednesday sorting out something to do with Nick's motorbike. And that was an exhausting day of me going, hi, I've been told about this piece of paper, whatever. But when it comes to education, when it comes to health, when it comes to, and here there is much argument at the moment about the fact that they've kind of let the tourist season happen and viruses, but they're quite openly balancing the need for, avoiding a poverty pandemic over a pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's like, but like you say, like the state at least pretends.
I mean, I was like you were talking about like having to wear masks in shops before that was, before that was even like mainstream in the UK. Like people weren't wearing masks for ages. Part of my feeling was like that there just weren't enough masks, but actually when it came out, just any kind of face covering is going to help this. But it took us so long to. This is one of. Did you see? Like, if you like, Obama's been sort of speaking out against Trump, which is just you just want to watch it because you just want to see what he says. He says he's sort of saying like we left them with a pandemic.
Yeah, I saw that
playbook. And I don't know what they did with it. They must have propped up a table with it or something because they, completely ignored it. So it's, they just... It's Trump sort of like, he wants to put a positive spin on everything. He wants to sort of act like everything's going to be okay because that's what... I mean, that is essentially what gets... viewership. That's what gets attention. That's what people like is positive stuff. Like to the point of like the Spotify algorithm will prioritize stuff that's kind of happy music. It's just like a fact of people will tend to gravitate towards sort of like happier feeling stuff. So, and Trump, I think, knows this from being on the telly. So, but sometimes that's just absolutely not appropriate, and you have to be a father to people. You can't be a.
But the thing you look. I watched a video of him talking about. Nobody gets hacked. I don't know if you saw that clip this weekend. Nobody gets hacked because I very rarely let the volume, the audio through because I can't bear to listen to his voice. I can't bear to listen to the words he uses. It just makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
But, he talks utter shit.
It's so incoherently constructed as well.
It's like the piss bloke down there. Like, if we're all drunk listening to him, fair enough. We're like, yeah, mate, yeah, that's right, yeah, another thing. But it's just like I just don't understand. Anyway, but I still don't think talking about how we got here, that's not the point at the moment. It's like, right, we need to start clawing some progress back.
Yeah, and we've lost. There's a lot of time been lost. Do you want to hear some of Trump's? For some reason, in my spam, I get Donald Trump propaganda because some other Michael Forrest has signed up, or there's a missing dot in the email address. That's the only difference. But it's the stuff they're saying in these emails. Go on. Here's the people that are voting for this guy. This is their world. This one is Donald Trump Jr. I have an exclusive offer for you. My father chose a few of his best supporters to enter to win a signed Freedom 2020 hat, and you were one of them. Incredible! This is my father's favourite hat, so trust me when I say you're definitely going to want this. These are all capitalised. Signed edition. The offer is valid for 1 hour today. So stuff like that.
What do you have to do to get this hat? Just reply.
Contribute to the... Contribute to 250,
it's
contribute 100.
That's like proper fishing.
Yeah. Are you watching the final presidential? Despite the left's efforts to silence him tonight, he's fighting for the American people. I know how much your support would mean to him right now, which is why I'm giving you one more chance to step up. I'm getting ready for the final presidential debate donor list, blah, blah, blah. And it's all like these kind of limited time offers. Here's one. Michael, can you keep a secret? Donald Jr. and Michael Savage each recently published new books, and because you're a top supporter, we're giving you priority access. Slow Joe and phony Kamala are losing it. There aren't many days left until Election Day, and it's becoming clear that America is rejecting their corrupt socialist agenda. These big government socialists know they can't win. Not when I have you on my team. We defeated them in 2016. Blah, 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 mega donors, but impeachment witch hunt. My father has delivered for the American people. 4 years ago, he promised that he would fight to make America great again. And 4 years later, he's delivered on that promise. He built the greatest economy the world has ever seen. And when he wins big in November, he's going to do it again. Our president is tougher than anyone I know. Slow and phony Joe. We're in the final stretch. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, my gosh. But that's like proper spam.
Proper spam, propaganda. Just anyone that people are getting.
Just send us $8 and we will deliver you oh my God, it's like Reader's Digest.
Yeah, the morning after, Vice President Pence absolutely crushed Kamala Harris on the debate stage, blah, 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 blah. Oh, they were changing it. The debate commission announces they're unilaterally changing the format of the next debate between my father and Joe Biden to be virtual. President Trump clearly won the last debate, and now the fake news is colluding with the left to rewrite the rules and protect Joe Biden from another crushing defeat. It's total BS. The Washington swamp is trying to interfere in the election, and we can't let them get away with it. The American people want a real debate, and it's up to us to make sure our father has the resources to fight back. It's like, it's madness, isn't it? Like,
oh my God.
Very insistent that they are very, very forcefully painting. It's just lies throughout, but it's so forcefully, spamfully expressed.
I'm a little bit at a loss for words because it's like there's so many ways to respond. It's like it's also insulting and offensive, isn't it? To a person. To sort of to treat them and speak to them like this and essentially try and trick them out of money.
I mean, it's absolute just like marketing 101. Like this is it's like if you take truth or values or any sort of like accountability out of the equation, you get to write stuff like this. And that's sort of the power of lies, the power of the Donald Trump's way of doing things is if you are not beholden to truth, you can optimize your spam.
No truth, no sort of respect for your fellow human. I sort of feel like using the word decency, but I feel like that's potentially overused. I like respect. I think respect says a lot. And also it's like at a simplistic level, it sort of assumes an absence of, I don't know, any sort of knowledge or agency or anything.
Well, it's gaslighting, isn't it? It's like, don't believe what your eyes and ears tell you. Believe this. It's like they're just gaslighting everyone with just fake stuff. And the worst, you hear it in the briefing room, like the White House, whatever, like the press room. They just gaslight the press every time. With like they say, well, what could you have to say about this? Well, no, this isn't a non-issue, and it's been created by the fake news media, and blah. And they just like say, no, they just absolutely say, no, you can't believe you can't believe the evidence of your senses. No. Believe us, and that's people are falling for it in huge numbers.
Terrifying.
Because we know, you have to like have a certain amount of like nous to be like to have some defences against that sort of marketing. And if neoliberal capitalism has taught us nothing, it's that marketing works and people will every time there's like 10% off, they'll go for it. Like all that stuff works.
But you see that there's sort of the huge that I think the most like disgusting thing about all of this, like there are many disgusting things about it, but one of the most disgusting things is like it leaves people with nothing to trust or nothing trustworthy. So for example, I did see a very reassuring survey recently that says that actually one of the positive effects of the pandemic has been that people are more inclined to trust science again. Like the trust in science has gone up. But you see, if you attack the people who are attacking the very things that can help us understand our world and survive, if you're leaving me with nothing.
Yeah, it's pure propaganda strategy, isn't it? It's like if you tell people that all the conclusions that they're drawing themselves are just completely wrong, then that the only source of truth then becomes your abuser. And then you just, like, if you can't believe your own judgment or you can't independently check anything, you can't form your own opinions on anything, your only source of facts becomes whatever your abuser makes up. And it's like gaslighting. It's like, no. So you have no choice than just to be this sort of passive absorber and reproducer, you just sort of spread whatever this person that's oppressing you is like making up. It's abuse.
It is abuse.
Absolutely abuse on a grand scale.
Yeah. It is. It's nothing else. It is literally, and it's bullying abuse of people that aren't in any position to defend themselves from it at all. Like it's disgusting.
And people, we all know people that go back to abusive relationships because you do. I don't know what you get. You get something out of it. But it's there's no way for any self-respecting person to live.
The abusive relationship thing is a tricky one, I think, because but I do try not to read stuff like that just because, or I have done just because it makes me react like this and it makes me sad.
One of the things that Trump has always done from, as it was leading up to him being elected and certainly far beyond is that projection thing he does. Basically, anything that Donald Trump accuses someone else of doing, it's because he's doing it every single time. Yeah. And that's... but it's sort of an effective strategy, isn't it? Like, if you don't want to get caught out for doing something, you just accuse the other person of doing it. You accuse the other them of fake news because you're spreading fake news.
Yeah. I think that's...
Accuse corruption, like Joe Biden's son is corrupt. I was just listening to this thing about, like, China, the telecoms company in China that Trump just, like... After all this tough on China stuff, because of like some connections and some conversation with someone who's like, oh, well, we're going to take off the sanctions to protect Chinese jobs. And it's sort of like, but I thought you were supposed to be, at the very least, I thought one of your principles was being like xenophobic and like, oh no. But then when he talks about it, it's good to, it's a handshake deal and he was very nice to me. And so I gave him this thing. It's like completely... someone's been paid off somewhere, and the whole thing. It's a bit. Was it coherent enough?
Well, I think the whole people, accusing people of doing things that you're doing is the trouble with that, and I think the trouble with I think that plays into this whole going. Biden's not good enough. I'm going to vote for the proper candidate or true candidate or that green candidate or whoever it might be. That's part of that. It's like you cannot fight that level of spam and that level of disingenuous moral corruption, that level of carpet bagging con artist. Awful behaviour by pretending that it doesn't exist or rising above. Like it's just not where you can fight somebody. Like ultimately a bully has to be confronted. I talk about the job I had at the Labour Party, the fact that I got a couple of times I got totally shocked because the behaviour that is normal in politics with a capital P is something that I'd never played out. So I wasn't ready for those arguments and I wasn't ready for that conversation because I don't do it. So therefore it wasn't one of my risk scenarios. Do you know what I mean? But when you're dealing with somebody who is such a fraudster, fraud has to be on your risk scenarios, and you can't then go, oh no, we're going to play, I get what you're saying, Michelle, about that we go high if they go low, but I'm sorry, but we at least need to go medium, otherwise I don't think you can win.
Well, yeah. And I'm all for, will you shut up, man?
Oh yeah. Oh.
It was just like someone needed to say, look, come on, at the very least, you can vote for Biden for just someone telling him to shut up to his face. Someone who,
But everybody wants to say that, but they don't because they're being polite grown-ups.
Yeah.
But actually, he needs to be told to sit in the corner and shut up and let the grown-ups get back to doing, running saving America from a pandemic, I mean, there's no other analogy. He's a brat.
Right. It's the 3rd of November, 4th of November, 10th of November, whenever it's going to be.
I'm not ready. How is anyone in America going to sleep or live? I don't know.
America
the whole world's going to be like...
America's voted Donald Trump back in. Are we surprised? Is it just too much? Are we just... I kind of wanted to check out the last time. I'm going to play my song that I wrote on the day after Trump got elected, because I felt like that day I felt like I had an analogy. It was like America just lost a mother, and I thought, right, I'm going to write a song around that. And like following Brexit, it was just like I don't know what to do with this. My faith in humanity is gone. Now we've had this for 4 years. Like, if it's another 4 years of Trump, like, I guess we just...
I think the only light that I'm going to add to that scenario is that America and Trump isn't, in fact, the whole world. Do you know what? Like, I think that's
the fall of Rome.
The fall of Rome. Maybe is the fall of Rome, but I think Rome is losing its influence. You see, America used to be a massive cultural export. It still is, obviously. It makes Hollywood movies, la la la. But
it did until the pandemic.
But and the world still looks to they are still a massive influence. And I've had an argument with somebody about this after the election. It's like you elect a man who on record talks about grabbing. You have sent out a message to a lot of people. But I think my little positive light shining around is that this 4 years has made them less relevant.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same goes for the UK. The UK is becoming less relevant. And I have to, I'm not actually living there at the moment, so I get this like different centrist, my news is less UK and US centric, but I think there are billions of other people who don't live in America and they don't live in the United Kingdom, and they Trump is not their president, and that would be my little ray of light. If he does win, I think, or I hope, it will be a reminder to the rest of the world that America is off, that sorry America, you're not allowed to play anymore because you've shown that you don't know how to. They
do have a lot of weapons. That's the only thing in that equation. They've got so many weapons. More likely is Trump. I think the season finale for Trump season 1 is he has been voted out, but he refuses to leave, and hopefully gets escorted out by the military, possibly in some sort of I guess with all those alt-right people that he's been dog whistling to this whole time, they all show up for this final battle of the military against the alt-right with guns. Oh, they will?
I don't think so. I think it's a big stretch between...
They're not going to go against the army.
No, big stretch between fighting and actually fighting.
Okay.
I know that America's got guns. I know that you have all these shootings and people die and all this stuff. But I don't know if you've been following what's happening in Portland. Trump sent the federal police, the army. The people aren't letting up at all. And there comes I think talking war and talking fighting, all this big talk until you have to do it. And I just think they're just full of shit.
These people that support Trump are, I guess they're ultimately cowards. They're ultimately living in fear. They're ultimately afraid of this assault by the radical left upon their freedoms. But, brave people. But then the problem is there are guns, and it only takes a couple of them to go from, move their finger an inch to kind of cross that line. And you just hope that...
Have you ever fired a gun?
No.
I've not fired a gun at somebody, obviously, or at a living being, but the actual act of firing a gun is not I've got a video, actually, I'll send you. I shot at a tree, as a target. Yeah. It's not that simple.
It's not that casual.
It's not a casual activity. And shooting at so I don't know. Anything can happen.
We're going to find out.
Thing. We are going to find out.
You've got to look at it. If you were planning a season of a TV show, of a reality TV show, what would you make happen? That's Trump's agenda at the end of the day.
That's true.
What's going to get me the best ratings? And also, what's the damage he's going to do in the period between being voted out and leaving office? There's that whole thing as well. He can do some damage in that time. But he needs to go straight to prison. He just needs to go straight to prison, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. Or he needs to be just hospitalised, just locked away, just give him a telly and a phone, let him pretend he's tweeting and have some bot liking his tweets so he gets 1 million likes. There you go, love. Everyone still loves you. Yes, you're very clever. Well done.
Yeah, you are the least racist person that has ever existed. It's true.
There you go. He needs assessing.
But he has been assessed. He did very well in that test, man, woman, camera, TV. See, better than I did. I know how it feels to be betrayed, to have your future torn away. Torn And I used to have some faith in people to tell apart what's the news and what's fiction. They couldn't really think that this is real. A crank on the TV saying here's the ones to blame when things don't go your way, when they're the ones we should be trying to save. But you went and made it real. You caught me by surprise. I try to recognize how we ended up with all this trouble. I guess I stayed away from what the awful papers say. I stayed inside my bubble, and if I saw a post I didn't like, I didn't say. When it's so easy to unfollow, I couldn't overhear the echo chambers of my neighbors. Perhaps I could have helped them with their struggle, though. Can you take me on your spaceship? I wanna exit planet Earth. 'Cause everybody's going racist, forgetting what life is worth. You only hang out for a minute, and don't you left us in a pretty good way. Now I see the human race is rolling in a retrograde. Thanks for listening. If you haven't voted, please vote.
Yeah.
Don't even go to grandpodcast.com this week.
No, just vote.
Where can people find you, Ivanka?
People can find me at Ivanka on Twitter.
You can find me at Michael Forrest on Twitter and on most things. We'll see you hopefully after the apocalypse is nearly ended. No, there's another week after this comes out. But I'm going to have had a haircut.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that second pandemic haircut. All right, bye.
Bye.